Hey everybody, Rob from Karma Comic Chameleon. Today we're looking at a couple of pro-revenge stories. First one, selectively enforce the rules? Okay, let's follow them to the letter now. Let's jump right in. Hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories and consider becoming a channel member for exclusive channel member only content every Friday. Check out the links in the description below. I used to work for a manufacturing company who makes waste containers, dumpsters, and such, and at first it was a good job with a good manager and no problems. I enjoyed the work. It was a dirty, physically demanding job, but kept me in good shape. I could just put in my earbuds and cruise through the day without any issues. My initial job was to prep the units for painting by polishing imperfections with a sander and grinding down the areas that were too rough, as well as cleaning them up after the welders were done with them. But after a while, they kept laying off so many people and dumping their jobs on me that eventually towards the end of my time there, I was quality control, helped the painter, was a warehouseman, finisher, grinder, and also a janitor for no additional pay beyond the small cost of living raises we got once in a while. After about a year of working for this company, prior to having all these jobs dumped on me, without any issues, new management showed up, and as they like to do, they started making all kinds of changes, just for the sake of making changes. Things that made jobs harder with no benefit, cutting corners that should not be cut, and generally hurting productivity and workplace safety. The change in management was bad, but it was not the end of the world. It made things harder for no real reason, but all in all, things were still manageable. Until I ended up off work for about a month with a collapsed lung that I still to this day believe was caused by working conditions there and lack of ventilation and PPE. When I came back to work, I was on light duty for quite some time since I had a surgery to repair the lung and prevent it from collapsing again. I went from the golden boy who they called on when shit had to get done to the red-headed stepchild of the company, and management was doing everything they could to get me to quit. They would throw my tools away, hide my stools so I couldn't use them while I was working, hassle me over things like my earbuds, citing safety as why I couldn't use them, even though OSHA themselves told me it was not an issue. The production manager would lie about things and write me up for non-existent violations, refuse to fix my bay doors that had been crashed into by forklifts numerous times that had to be closed and opened with a crowbar by 2 people since the track was mangled. Other things included the company giving everybody in the plant raises except for me, catching me 5 minutes before leaving work to go on my weekend, and informing me that we had to work the next day, and selectively enforcing safety rules, and even making rules up on the fly. After about 6 months, I had enough and decided if they wanted to constantly cite policy and safety rules to with me, then I could play that game too. I would make this manufacturing plant the safest company on the planet and ensure policy was followed to the exact letter. This was now my mission. I began to slow my work way down and only do the jobs I was hired and paid to do. Instead of doing the workload of 10 employees with nothing in return, they now got exactly 1 person's worth of labor out of me. The customers' orders began stacking up, deliveries were late, bad welds and welds that got missed during production were overlooked, causing the units to have to be repainted when they had to go back to the welding lines to be fixed. The warehouse became a wreck with containers backed up to the point that people did not even have room to work. I went from completing a large unit in 30 minutes to it taking me 2.5 hours on the same one, not to mention all the repairs that needed done that were missed during production when before I would have caught them before the units even left the production line. Other petty things I did included not showing up on Saturday to work when the manager would catch me at the last second and tell me I had to. I took to cutting out the text in the employee handbook, citing that working unscheduled hours required management to notify you 3 days in advance, and leaving a letter with that portion of the handbook on his desk the following Monday. There was nothing they could do, since I was following the handbook to the letter. At this point, it was a game of who would blink first. They could lay me off, and I could draw unemployment on them, or I would quit. Next on the list was safety. They like to hassle me so much about trivial things that I figured they would appreciate me going through the plant and documenting every single last OSHA violation, safety violation, and anything else that was not right. I had a notebook that was filled with violations from one end of the plant to another. Things like crane lifts that were being used improperly, with J-hooks that OSHA previously warned the company about. The same J-hooks they liked to hide every time OSHA came through the plant. Welders that had frayed cords around puddles of water, tools being left on top of units that could fall off and hit someone, lack of ventilation, particle counts that were too high, forklifts that were not serviced enough. I tagged out equipment that technically shouldn't be used in its current state and locked out the forklifts that needed brakes or any sort of maintenance. Eventually, the production manager took the bait and untagged one of the forklifts I had logged out due to having bad brakes. Anybody who knows lockout procedure can understand what a massive f*** up that is. Once I compiled my list of improvements, I went to the government official who was overseeing safety and procedure since we often worked on government orders. I gave him my notebook, informed him of my manager taking the lockout off a defective forklift, then went on break and waited. About 30 minutes later, I saw my manager walking back from the head office and looking pissed beyond belief. Later, I heard from someone who knows him that he got punished severely, especially for the forklift. From then on, he avoided me and wouldn't even speak to me or look at me. After that, I continued to slow my work pace down and got a bit of satisfaction each day from the complete show the place had become and how backed up it was every single day. After I left the company, I heard they hired 5 guys to do my job and that they still did a job at it. Had they treated me better instead of coming at me like they did, they would have been still getting the top quality of work from me that they got when I first joined them. And things would have went along just fine. I can't even imagine how much money I must have cost that company by sticking to the exact letter of the rules. A wonderful revenge story which could have been a crosspost to malicious compliance as well. There is a lot of corner cutting in business, so I congratulate OP on taking the route that they did. They probably made that place a lot safer and a better place to work for most of the employees going forward. On to story number 2, to catch a pen thief. Let's jump right in. Posted this as a comment a while back somewhere else and was told to share with you guys here. So I work in an aerospace facility that's large enough that you'll never meet everyone who works there. It's the type of place where everything you could need, pens included, are provided for you. However, as free pens go, you already know they're the shitty ones. I'll just buy my own pens, thanks. Around the time of this incident, I had just taken a promotion. Part of the deal was that I'd be working second shift instead of first. Okay by me, as I'm getting used to my new schedule, I started losing my pens. Not abnormal for me, but it was happening too often that I'd come into work and I swear I put my pen right here last night, but now I can't find it. I grew suspicious of my now previous coworkers who knew where I usually stash things, and I hatched a plan. First, I had to make sure my pen was indeed being taken, rather than me losing my mind due to my new schedule. I bought a pack of Pilot G2s, duh, best pens out there, and laid a trap. Now, I work in the machine shop and there are toolboxes everywhere. I set up and run multiple machines, but there's a particular machine that everybody knows is kinda my home base. In that accompanying toolbox, I left a pen in the top drawer, right front and center, for a pendejo to find, and sure enough, it was gone the next day. I'm not crazy, and the hunt has begun. In my line of work, we have controlled documents. Every piece and part is documented and serialized. One of our huge taboos is using any color other than black on these documents. It was obvious what I had to do. When I bought my last pack of G2s to avoid having to use the craptacular provided pens, I also bought a set of colored G2s. I took the ink cartridge from a pink pen and used a black Sharpie to hide both the ink in the tube and the colored cap on the top of the cartridge. Looked a bit ugly, but I knew I wasn't dealing with a pro here. I placed the pink, now black, cartridge in an unsuspecting black pen body and left it in my usual hiding spot. The next day, when I came into work, sure enough, the pen was gone. My trap had worked. First thing I heard in my shift pass-down meeting was how some dumbass used pink ink on a work order this morning, and I'd better make sure for the millionth time that my new employees knew better than to do something that dumb. Didn't even have to fess up to setting a trap, nailed that fool right to the wall, and no one knows what I did. Suck it, Benjamin. I think this story goes to show that you don't have to be some kind of evil genius to get a little bit of revenge on your coworkers. Congratulations, OP. I want to thank both OPs for posting their stories to the ProRevenge subreddit. You can visit them at the links in the description below. Please do that and go there and give them an upvote. Once again, this is Rob from Karma Comic Chameleon saying thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.